Thank you for joining us today for the virtual Sunday service with the Center for Creative Living. CCL, a charter of the Universal Church of the Master, has served and supported the spiritual needs of its community here in the Bay Area for over 20 years.
Good morning and welcome to the Center for Creative Living. I'm so glad that you decided to join us this morning. It's been quite a week, and each one of you I know has been having your own personal decisions to make about what you're doing, where you're going, and what's happening. Well, I want you to be able to relax this morning. Stop worrying about what's happening around you. Instead, go inside you and think about all the wonderful gifts that the universe has given you. Being able to thank Creator for who you are, for what you're doing, and for how absolutely you are as a miracle. We're all miracles. But sometimes we just don't appreciate it, do we? So start appreciating yourself today. Can you do that? I think you can. Well, we're going to have an excellent speaker. Our wonderful Reverend Joan Stutes is going to be talking, and she's going to be talking about journaling, and she's going to be talking about putting down what's going on with you, what you want, who you are, and how you enjoy your life. Many of you I've told I've been writing a book, and the book is about my life. And I'm still stuck back at age 28. That's kind of exciting to get stuck at that time. But I'm moving forward, so I don't know how many more months or years it's going to take to get up to my age, but I'm going to be working on it. And of course, some of you I'm going to say, hey, why don't you help me? I need some work done on this, because I found that writing a book isn't just about yourself. It kind of takes a committee to do it. Now, the other thing that I want you to do is think of what kind of prayers you would like to put in the UCM prayer request. We have people right now that are in the hospital that we're concerned about, and we put out prayers. Who do you want to pray for? And if it's yourself, that's perfect too. So please call Reverend Corry Gott at area code 408-220-5779 and say, Corky, I'd like to put this person on the UCM prayer request line, or I'd like to put myself down as needing prayers during this difficult time. Here at both CCL and UCM, we want to help you going through whatever it is that's making your life not absolutely perfect. Because we know, as miracles, you can have a perfect life. I bet you think so too. So if you feel like there's any problems, let your church help you during this difficult time. Okay? Now we're going to be having a message, or as far as a prayer. Our prayers are so wonderful, because even though last week we heard from Reverend Ann Corbin, and this week we're hearing from Reverend Dr. Ayleen Augustine, each time one of these beautiful women does a prayer, it opens you up. It's a prayer that gives you a message, but opens you up to the divine. And that's going to be fantastic to do. And of course, then Reverend Joan's going to be speaking. And our delightful Reverend Dr. Janet Childs is going to be doing a meditation accompanied with a video and slides by Reverend Corry Gott. Isn't this amazing? Sunday morning at the center is incredible. And don't forget, as soon as we figure out how we're going to be getting back into our building, we'll be back at the center on Cole Circle. And we want you to be there too. Thank you much for joining us.
Happy birthday, Corry!
Oh, it's a birthday for Reverend Corry Gott. Okay, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. This is your birthday song. It isn't very long. Yay! Yes. Reverend Corry is also the Vice President of the Universal Church of the Master. She's a hardworking woman, and, she's one of these people that she is always on your side. Isn't that great to know that you can call somebody and they'll be on your side? So let's celebrate her birthday. Thank you again. And now, let's have the prayer.
Well, hello everyone. Good morning. This is Reverend Dr. Ayleen Augustine, and I am the President of the Universal Church of the Master, and I am also here to do this morning's prayer. And, it really takes a community to, put together something like this. And, we've got different people who are doing videos and the speakers and everybody who puts this together. And this is truly an act of love. And sometimes we have to kind of back each other up. Sometimes we have to, share those roles. And Reverend Ann, who was going to be doing the prayer today, well, sometimes, we usually alternate, and sometimes the schedule gets kind of twisted around because, somebody's having to deal with something, and, we just sort of make do and cover each other. So, I'm happy to help her out. I'm happy to, assist her as, anything that we can do to help lighten the load of another person. I think that's a very good idea, and it's a good thing to be able to do. And I am tremendously grateful for all of those who, share their good wishes and their prayers and really have been there for me in such amazing and wonderful ways. This has been a heck of a year, and I keep remembering something that, my mom would remind me of. It was a saying that the will of God will never take me where the grace of God will not protect me. And it seems like this year has been a year of being taken into some very, very weird places. And yet, God's grace has always been with us and always will be. So, as we go into that space today of thinking about how God's grace works in our lives and how Creator watches over us, just remember that you're not alone. None of us are. And even though Creator has an infinite number of things to do in each and every second, we still are each God's favorite child. And we're noticed. So count on that. If you're ever feeling alone, you're not. Your pain is noticed by the people who love you and by the Creator who cherishes you. So take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, just let anything weighing on your body, your mind, or your spirit kind of fall aside into that little imaginary basket, because that's your care basket. And at this moment and in this space, you don't need to hold on to those things. Dear, blessed, and wonderful Creator, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for our lives. We thank you for all the blessings you give in each and every moment and with each and every breath. We thank you for the blessing of and ask that you bless all of our community members and all of our friends and all of our family and all of those who are there for us and who help us and take care of us. All of those people to whom we matter, because you were the one who brought them into our lives. We thank you for the opportunity we have to be there for the people who need us and to also be a support and to encourage and, sometimes to speak that truth that maybe is hard to hear. Yet you guide us in how we deal with each other, because it is your love that surrounds us. And when we can remember to stay in connection with that love, then that love pours through each of us as well. We thank you for loving us, Creator. And even though these are polarizing and divisive times, and even though sometimes it's easy to forget to look for you in the eyes of even those we disagree with, Creator, we thank you for always giving us the chance and always reminding us of what love is. And we thank you for your faith in us, that you know that that love lies within each and every one of us, and you constantly remind us about how to love one another. Creator, thank you for all your blessings. Thank you for the kindness and the understanding. Thank you for being the exact parent that we need. And Creator, whatever it means to you, I hope you have a wonderful day. For all your creation to the next 7 generations and beyond, Aho Matak Oyasin, Ago, 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 by earth, sea, and sky. Namaste, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum. Blessed be. Amen.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here with you today, a bright, sunshiny day. And after this stressful week that we've had, I felt that we needed some trees and some scenery to calm us and take a deep breath and just relax. A friend of mine was driving through Yosemite and sent these photos and said that I could use it, so we can all be in Yosemite today. Well, yes, we've survived the election, and my philosophy is this: the universe is unfolding as it should, and that's a key belief. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here today with you. And I thought after our stressful week that having some trees and some nice scenery to look at during the service would be restful, and we could all take a deep breath. This week is over. I want to tell you my overall philosophy, and that is that the universe is unfolding as it should. My job is to remain steady in my life and in belief that the universe is ultimately good and unfolding appropriately. Do I like it? Not always, but it gives me a sense of continuity and security. And especially this week, I think that's been an important spiritual belief to carry forward. So today we're going to talk about journaling. Journaling for historical recording in your life, journaling for spiritual growth, and journaling for prosperity with intention. Okay, let's go. So, journaling for history. I want to tell you that I graduated from high school in 1953. Yeah, it was a long time ago. That year, 1953, I was 18 and I was enrolling in college when I was asked, do you want to take the seat of a man who will need the job? And I looked at him and I said, yes, I do. And I took that seat and I stuck with it, and I graduated 4 years later. Then when we bought a house right after graduation, my husband's salary was considered, but not mine, because I might get pregnant. Never thinking that I had been married for 5 years and not become pregnant. No, that wasn't a question. The rules were you don't count women's salaries. So I've seen enormous progress in women's opportunities and rights. Women now have credit cards, which they didn't have then. They can buy a house on their own, which they couldn't do then. And their salary is counted as a part of the family income so that the family can buy a nicer home. So there's been progress as we've gone forward. Has the road been smooth? No, of course not. It's been a bumpy road, but women are in a better position today than they were in 1953. In 1970, I got a divorce, and there was no call for teachers after all my hard work of becoming one. And so I became a realtor. I became a real estate agent. At that time, 80% of the realtors were men, and everybody smoked. I didn't smoke. I never smoked. And I was vastly uncomfortable. Not only that, we women realtors, the 20% of us that were women, were told to please go home and take care of the children and cook dinner. Hello? Well, we didn't. We stayed with it, and realtors actually became dominated by women, up to 75 and 80% women at one time. Interestingly, their sons came in and helped them with their business, took over their business, and as they aged out, and now it's come more for 50-50 or 60-40, with women 60 and men 40. And who better to sell homes and explain the benefits of home ownership than the woman speaking to the woman of the house? Women have so many more opportunities now than they did in 1953 or even in 1970. So I tell you these things to remind you that things change. They have moved forward. The world as a whole has less poverty now than it did even 30 years ago. The world is changing and it's unfolding. The universe is unfolding. I'm reminded that one time we visited an aircraft museum in Tillamook, Oregon, and they had a section for women pilots of World War II. They fought to become pilots, trained well, and were brave, and they got to shuttle airplanes from the manufacturer to the base and from one base to another base. They were not allowed to be in the war zone. It was too dangerous. Well, of course, that's changed too. Amy McGrath, a fighter pilot, recently ran for Senate in Kentucky against Mitch McConnell. She lost that battle, but she put up a brave front, and I became aware of her and admire her. She dreamed of becoming a fighter pilot since she was a little girl, and she, through fight and dedication, achieved that goal. So what kind of things are happening in your life right now that are going to be remembered and say, oh, during that time, during that lockdown time, around the 2000s, during that time, this happened. So 2020, yeah, this happened, and we had to stay inside, and we had to wear masks all the time. And we had so many different things that changed. I was in a networking group recently with 10 women, and we talked about changes in our lives. And I want to tell you, I thought I was the only one that had vast changes this past year because my husband died. I painted the house and did a lot of remodeling and updating and reconnected with a fellow that I had dated prior to meeting Earl over 30 years ago. And so I've been having a romance and dating. And I thought I was the only one making these big changes. No, all 10 women talked about buying houses, selling houses, moving out of the state, getting a job, getting laid off, being fired, starting a business, closing a business, expanding a business, getting married, getting engaged, grandchildren. Amazing changes in everyone's life. And I'm sure you've experienced changes too, vast changes as we've gone through this lockdown process. It's been an amazing shift of meeting people virtually instead of hugging and congratulating people in person, and having nice long coffee dates at Starbucks, nice long lunches at Panera, which is what I used to do all the time. When I don't do anymore, which is why I have time to journal. Well, that's one of the reasons. I made a commitment to begin journaling 193 days ago, and I've done it every single day now. And as I journaled, my life took on an easier flow. Just all the changes I went through came a little bit easier. And that's why I'm sort of excited about journaling. So this is talking about journaling for historical purposes. So my new Love Life fellow, turns out it came out sort of gradually that he's a Trump supporter. And those of you who know me know that I was a Bernie supporter, and I'm a liberal. And we've had some interesting conversations because our nation appears to have remained split because of the closeness of the election, which has not been decided while I'm doing this talk. I'm urging you to explore how to talk to people with different beliefs politically. I'm recommending a book called Rating the America's Presidents by Spencer. It evaluates the presidents solely on, did they stick close to the Constitution, doing what the Constitution said the president should do, and did they follow their oath of office? That's their only criteria. And some of his explanations I found extremely interesting and beneficial in talking with people of a different political mindset. And I think we have to expand our vocabulary and learn a little bit. So I'm urging you to explore. It's been different for me. I will tell you that, and exciting. All right, so journaling for historical collection. Grandchildren will like it. My children aren't interested in what I did as a kid. My grandchildren love the stories. All right, the second part of this is journaling for spiritual growth. Okay. And I love this because it's something that I've been doing in this pandemic time. The way I do this is sit quietly and let a word or a phrase or a sentence come to my mind. And then I write it down and I explore it in my mind. What does this mean? What does this mean to me today? Now, do I always get a word or a sentence or an idea? No, I don't. Sometimes my mind is so busy flitting around that it doesn't settle down on one word. So then I go to a deck of cards, wisdom cards or spiritual enlightenment cards for an idea. or I read the Daily Word, a Unity publication, or other spiritual publications to give me an idea to explore on that particular day. The Bible verses are also good. Just something to explore, something to think about in a deeper way. And just be quiet and see what happens. Sometimes I have different colors of light coming to me from way out in the universe. And sometimes when I put my pen to my paper, it begins writing. That's called automatic writing, which we, as a part of the spiritualist community, believe in and often practice, because we know that as people leave their physical bodies behind, they can communicate with us through messages and help us understand life beyond the physical realm. So automatic writing, spiritual publications are cards that we use for giving readings. Sometimes give you a nice clue of what to write about. There's lots of different ways to do it. The important thing to do is to do it daily. Now, I've heard about this all my life, and I was never able to do it, but I'm doing it now. And I just find that it makes my life so much more pleasant. And I've moved into a flow of unfolding easily going forward. So use any kind of a journal. Don't wait for the perfect journal. Don't necessarily buy an expensive journal. I use spiral bound notebooks from Walgreens and ballpoint pens. Sometimes I add color, but most of the time it's just me and the inexpensive notebook and a ballpoint pen and quietness. I do sit at one place each day, the same place each day, which also seems to give a flow and a certainty and a calmness about it. After I remodeled my bedroom, I put a desk in there, and so I have a corner, my spiritual corner, with a desk and a chair where I do my journal writing and my meditation. So spiritual exploration. I also I use Headspace, which is an app on my iPhone, to guide me through a short meditation. I think it's only like 10 minutes, but it's a time of being quiet, of counting the breaths, of thinking about not thinking. I guess that's one way to put it. So I'm asking you to think in terms of prayer, inspiration, meditation, letting ideas flow to you to explore, and just enjoying that quiet time. Usually it's about a total of 20 to 30 minutes, time well spent. It's an investment in me. It's an investment in the universe unfolding as it should, because I'm in harmony with the universe. It's an investment in my family, my home, because I'm calmer and can think more clearly. So that's journaling for spiritual growth. I encourage you to experiment with it. and let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear from you. And you know, I've committed to being here another 17 years, and I hope you'll be here with me and we can share these experiences. Okay, let's talk about journaling for prosperity. Another topic I love. What I find is that people often don't know what they want, okay? Or they want something big. I want to be rich. I want to be healthy. I want a great family. Okay, those are all good goals, but we have to be more specific. And in order to get into the flow of what you want. So one of the things that you can do is write down, journal with intentions. All right. So I intend to move forward in my health program by eating sensibly, by eliminating sugar. That's my big challenge right now. Eliminating sugar. I'm just a sugar freak. Are you? I know we all have our little special indulgences. Well, mine happens to be sugar. And the truth of it is, I have to eliminate sugar. So yes, I'd like to lose weight, and I have weight goals written down, but I also need to be healthy. And the one step I can take toward being healthy is to minimize my sugar and to add more fruits and vegetables, add salads. So I can write those things out. And generally what happens on this type of journaling is it's a mishmash. I want to be healthy. To be healthy, I maybe need to add a salad. When can I eat salads? So for me, it becomes a mishmash until I focus down and get to what I'm really willing and able to do to reach that goal. Now, I want to talk about, of course, consciousness. I know I've talked about it before, so maybe this is a repeat. When you were 15, you wanted to get your driver's license. And people would say to you, do you drive? You said, no, I'm not old enough. I can't drive yet. I can't get my license. So that's your answer when you're 15. Then you turn 16 and people say, do you drive? And you say, I'm getting my license. I'm studying. And meanwhile, from age 15 on, when you first had this idea and people began asking you, do you drive? You had a vision. You had a vision of independence. You could drive when you wanted, where you wanted. You had a vision of mobility. You could choose your locations. And you had a vision of taking your friends to the beach or to a party and having a really good time. So as you went through the difficulties of getting your license, you had the vision of this taking your friends to the beach and having a party, or riding and driving the car by yourself and going where you wanted. You had a vision of the end result, the vision of having the license and having the freedom and the mobility and the fun that you envisioned. So when you're 16, I'm getting my license. Yes, I took the test. I passed the test. Yay. And now you have a license and you're driving and you have permission for little excursions. You know, my big first excursions driving was to get milk. I had to drive about 2 miles out to the home of a family that had a cow, and we could have what we called real milk, not store milk, which we wouldn't drink. So my big deal every week was to go out and get the milk. And so it happens they had a son that was a little bit older than I was, and we connected and ended up getting married. So I had some adventures driving out to get the milk. So those first adventures are exciting. You're learning to drive. So now you're 18. Maybe you even went to Yosemite, went camping. You drive all the time to school. You have your own car. And people say, do you drive? And you say, drive? Of course I drive. You see, that's mastery. When you can say, of course I do, you have reached the level of mastery. So in the intention part of journaling, the project is to create a vision that will keep you steady through the process of getting to your goal. Because there's always roadblocks. There's always problems. There's always tests. There's always financial requirements, education requirements. In my 4 years of college, which I quit the next day for 3 of the 4 years because it was so hard, being young, being away from home, being married, it was hard. And I decided to quit the next day. The thing that kept me going was a college degree was my ticket to financial freedom. And I knew that then, and I was willing to stay and get through the difficulties. So when you're talking about intentions, what you're doing is creating a vision that's strong enough, vibrant enough, real enough for you to continue through to the end. Now, are you going to have difficulties? Sure, but you're going to get through them. And you don't know how you're going to get through them, but through your journaling and your quiet time, you will have ideas of ways to get through it. So if you need to want to improve your life in some specific way, build a very strong vision. And then when you can say, of course I do. I know it took me about 5 years to say, are you a realtor? Of course I'm a realtor. And I'm in financial services now, and I've been there for 10 years. And I can pretty much say, of course I'm a financial services advisor. All right, to wrap up, journal to record these extraordinary times because we are in extraordinary times. Consider exploring conversations with people that maybe you're not so comfortable with, because we are in a situation right now where, and we seem to be going to stay in that situation, where we need to be able to talk to a wide range of people. Number 2 is journal for spiritual growth. Let the ideas come to you as you sit quietly and write them down. Write in a notebook, in a journal of some sort, not necessarily expensive, but write it down. Okay, number 3 is journaling and creating a vision that will carry you through the tough times. What is it that your heart desires and that you really, really, really want to go for? I promise you the vision will carry you through. I promise you, you will have the ideas necessary. I promise you that you can move into that better life that you have the envision. In closing, I want to remind you that in the spiritual community, We passionately believe that the universe is unfolding as it should. It continues to unfold. Yes, right now we're going through a tumultuous time. Maybe the tumultuousness will continue, but the universe is unfolding as it should. I promise you. And I'm going to be here and stay and watch it because it's such an exciting time. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm saluting you as you go forward with your journaling project, whatever it is, so that you can reach that, of course, I can do that consciousness.
When the winds of time curl and wind through the chambers of our hearts, yours and mine, oh, yours and mine. When the waters of healing flow and reach into the chambers of our breathing, we both learn and teach, cleansing the dusty roads, cleansing the long roads, cleansing the weary journey. May I meet you with a full heart, with my whole heart, with my whole, and not leave a chamber behind. May I meet you with my real heart, with my full heart, so that we might find sweet paradise, oh, beyond right and wrong, ooh, everlasting peaceful nights, ooh, the dreams carry us along, carry us on the dusty roads, carry us when the journey is long, carry us when our hope is waning and almost gone, almost gone. When the winds of time curl and wind, oh, curl and wind through the chambers of our hearts, yours and mine, yours and mine, yours and mine. May I meet you with a full heart, with my whole heart, and not leave a chamber behind. May I meet you with my real heart, with my real heart, so together we might find sweet paradise beyond right and wrong, everlasting peaceful nights, the dreams carry us along, the rough journey, the dusty roads, we're carried along. May I meet you with my full heart, with my whole heart, not leaving a chamber behind. May I meet you with my real heart, so together we might find
Thank you for joining us for this celebration of faith and fellowship. We'll be back next Sunday. And for those of you, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them in the comments section. If you appreciate this video and the work that the Center for Creative Living is doing, please press like on the video. You can share the video, and also please subscribe, because that will help this community and the church grow. Remember, in these difficult and challenging times, the opportunity to give and support an organization that has done so much for the community is tremendously important. Please help the Center for Creative Living continue in the wonderful work that it does. We will make it through this. We will be stronger for it. Our faith will carry us. Be blessed, be safe, and have a wonderful week.